Did I? I did click start, and then I clicked end, and then I had to say no, and here we go.
Yeah, Flash of Genius
The following
is legit,
podcast
though.
may be
Cool.
explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.
And here we are on our audio podcast, Adventures from the Shed. We're going to be continuing our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign with Jason at the helm. Jason, why don't you go ahead and get us kicked off?
I really don't want to. That's the thing. We left off on such a happy note. People were alive. I think we should stay there. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to Dungeons & Dragons. Yes, we're going to continue through the Kingdom of Eredin with our intrepid group of heroes.
And heroes, question mark.
There, yeah. So let's get started, and we'll start off with the typical introductions with Chris, the man himself, kicking us off as always.
Hey, this is Chris. I'm playing Ophidian, the one-cheap pureblood rogue, but, technically not too roguish, I guess.
And I'm Eli. I am playing anxiety baby tiefling Raze. I, as a player, I'm going to be a mess because that cliffhanger has been
hanging on
all
you
kinds of ways.
It's hanging on you for a couple weeks now, too. That doesn't help, right?
Yep.
And I am Joe. I am playing Rolex, the Warforged Artificer.
I'm Randy, and I play the fighter who is a tabaxi named Les. I stumbled all over that.
I like that weird accent.
In his fighting combat.
I like that accent that just came out. Just barely.
Stumble talk, the accent.
I like that.
All right, so just so everyone is aware, we did level up here. The group survived a pretty harrowing encounter in the quarantine zone. They were successfully able to get out alive, so we did move up from level 6 to 8. And that is so the characters will have some new abilities, they'll have some new features, some extra health. Just like we discovered with Raze's character, now he's going to be at full health and not half health, which will be nice. So let's get started. Let's have Eli, since he's so prepared for tonight's game. Let's have him do the recap here.
So there we were in the quarantine zone. Shenanigans, running away from the not police. We were discovered by these watchers in the quarantine zone and their strange leader in bone armor, who I'm assuming was trying to suck the soul from our companion, but that was from a prior episode. Anyways, they found us. We start running away. We dip into the sewers and start trying to get away from them. They send this weird hell beast after us. I don't know what it was. All I know is that it scared me. I was terrified. Now, the beast was slowed enough for us to get to the edge of the barrier, and we barely made it through. Did some damage. I lost my weapon to it because I threw it. We did manage to get away. On the way out, though, when we passed a sewer grate, we overheard some conversation, and it turns out that this strange bone armor commander is in cahoots with the Winter's
Guard.
Yeah, Winter's Guard, like captain, commanding officer, like one of the higher ups. But from the conversation, it seemed like they're rather tense about things.
It was Sifia and Tiva.
Yeah, those degenerates.
That was the name of the dark elf thing.
Says the literal half fiend. What was it? So I'm terrible with this. I'm sorry. Randy, what was that name?
Sifia
and
Tiva.
Sifia and Tiva.
She was wearing a Juralic family chest along with many others.
Yes, that was one of the big twists, that they are older than the current ruling families, who have been in power for about as long as most mortals in the city have been alive. As a matter of fact, they're so old that Rolex recognized his original family crest amongst the trophies.
Yeah, and that goes back over 100 years. Yeah.
Mhm,
Yep.
mhm.
Les is
Over
the
a
same one as
century.
his too. So
Yep.
Oh yeah. Afterwards, we laid low for a second, got back to the surface, and decided to split up. I took our charge off on my own to finish getting her to safety.
Mhm.
Took her to a nice little tavern to get a good night's sleep and a nice hearty meal for the journey tomorrow. We need to rest up because I don't have any spells, so I can't protect her. So we have to get some rest.
Aw.
Mhm, mhm.
And we left off with her asleep in her bed and me towering over her with a sword ready to pierce her heart. Because I'm just that kind of guy.
Yep. And I love the fact that everyone was, they're gonna go and have romance together and stuff, and then nope, definitely not Raze's plan.
slip into something more comfortable so I can stab you in the chest.
There's going to be some penetration going on.
Mhm.
I will say the way I described the setup to the assassination plot did not help my case.
No, it did not. But anyways, that is where we are going to pick back up here. Not with Raze. We're going to let Raze wait for a few more minutes before we come back to him. But we are going to be picking up here. It is late evening. It is probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. You guys have had a harrowing, past day and a half. You guys probably don't smell very good. You have been in the sewer systems, in the quarantine zone, and you've gone off to do different things. Rolex and Les, you decided to go off to the Breaking Waves Monastery, which is a few buildings down, to meet with a old monk who used to be a he wasn't a member of the Jurlic family. He was somebody who was a teacher to them and who knew them going way back. And then Ophidian obviously has gone out to send out some messages, finish up some correspondence, and do those kind of things. So that is where we are going to begin. Any questions before we get started?
Does Les have the right amount of hit points now?
Do you, Les?
And now, does Raze, for that matter?
I'm sure Raze
does everybody?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pointing
I
at all
still
the
have
wrong
level 5
characters.
fighter on mine, which is wrong.
Okay. Well, we'll fix that in a minute here. But again, we're not going to be in combat right now, at least unless you guys decide to do something crazy. So we'll get that sorted out here. But let's start with Ophidian. Ophidian, what are you doing?
I'm just cleaning myself up. I sent messages to Nadiva, heard back from my masters about letting things play out. So I'm just kind of like laying low, waiting to see if I hear anything back from Annette.
Okay. You just sent the message out prior here. Where are you hanging out here? Are you just hanging out in the city? Are you hanging out in the street, in a tavern? Where do you see yourself?
I would be in like wherever I live. That's where I'd want to be, just kind of clean up and get the stench off me, because it's not,
Okay, so you live in
my thing.
You live, because you're a fancy person. You live in the middle
yeah.
part of town, which is about a day and a half's travel away from you right now. So you're actually still in the poorer district. So it depends on if you want to make that journey to your personal home or not.
Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right. So you will again how do you want to get there? Again, you can travel on foot. You can get a carriage and a horse. You can again take the
fastest.
The fastest way was the tram the tram line, which was attacked and bombarded by, again, you guys were a part of that there. So that surface is certainly down. So right now the fastest way would be the Peshar taxi services, which are carriages and horses and carts that bring people from one place to another. It is to get from your home, from where you're at right now, to your district where you're from. It would, again, be a decent amount of money for that here. It'd probably be around 80 gold pieces for that particular journey if you wanted to do that.
Oof, it's more expensive than a tram. Yeah, I'll just find a nice hotel.
Okay, all right. Make me an investigation check. Let's see which hotel you can find. First roll of the night is for a hotel. 15. Okay. All right. So with the 15, you can find a couple of places here. The closest one to you would probably be, I would say, that would be the Delche Overlook. It is on the outskirts towards where the District 15 and 12, they start to get better the closer they get to the Wintermere districts and things like that. There's some of the last buildings on the edge. It would take you a good few hours, and unless you wanted to take, again, a taxi there, you could take that there, and it would be about 10 gold pieces to get you there. And then it would be about another 15 gold for the night if you wanted to stay in the better places in District 12 and 15.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we will say that is where you are at. Okay. All right. Rolex and Les, how are you guys wanting to get to the Breaking Waves Monastery? It is only about a couple, maybe a few blocks over, but again, it's a crowded city. It'll still take you a couple hours to get there on foot if you wanted to. The streets are still always jam-packed. At night, the street fills with smells of like the street vendors and things like that with their carts out. They have different foods and meats. You do see like some back alley games going on with gambling and things happening here. The streets are always packed and full, but it's up to you guys how you want to get there.
Oh man, buddy, I'm not smelling so good. We should go find a place to go clean up. You're looking a little smudged too.
A wash would be preferred.
All right, let's go and find the nearest place to go and clean up real quick.
Okay. Well, since you guys were in the area where Raze was at here, the Meat and Mash where he's at would be the closest place that would have that. There's also, again, the Red Lion, which Ophidian stayed at prior because he didn't want to sleep in the back room of the Stew and Pearl. They also have cleaning supplies there and things that you can do. It's up to you guys.
It's like the Meat and Mash and Power Wash.
There you go.
Power wash, you say. Being a
Yes, indeed.
robot, no.
Oh, this place is close. The Meat and Mash. Let's go there.
Okay.
It's nice, cleaned up, and there's some food here.
Okay. All right. So it's only 2 gold coins for each of you to get some food and then to use their facilities. It's not very nice facilities. It's like a water trough, and there is some like soaps and stuff on there, but it's enough for you guys to get clean if you wanted to go there. You would see Raze at the bar. This is before he decided to make his way up into the room and do things. He is sitting there having a drink and unwinding for the night.
Oh, hey, Raze, we're just here to clean up. How late is it?
Right now, it'd probably be around 10:30, 10:45.
Do you want to leave tonight, or do you want to just go in the morning? What are you feeling?
Whenever you are rested, I can go.
I'm pretty beat down. We should probably rest.
Who beat you down?
We went from that one fight to the sewers to here, pretty much. So
It's been a nice walk.
Has it? I didn't think we rested.
No, you guys didn't rest now.
No, we walked.
You guys leveled
a
up.
little
You
bit,
didn't rest though, because we were still on the same day.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we walked a little bit. Rolex doesn't have the same problems with having been beat up, right? So
Yeah.
it's not quite understanding your problems.
Some lady used me as a lightning rod, or he looked like a lady. Dude looks like a lady. Anyway, so I'm going to go rest here because I'm feeling a little ashy.
Okay. and for Rolex, there's no reason for him really to get a room or a bed, and he can just, as long as there's no objection in the general eating area, he can just sit in the corner with Doug and snack on pretzels all night.
Okay,
That's
so you guys.
me in the corner.
Yes.
That's me in the spot.
Okay, so you guys are going to stay in the same area that Raze is in here. You're going to stay at a room with the Meat and Mash.
Yes, unintentionally the same area.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the closest one. So, as
Okay.
you said.
Okay.
Rolex is a follower at this point, so if Les is staying there, he's going to hang out in the same area. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Raze, you see your friends there. They go to their own rooms though. They're taking their leave. They're doing their things here, and the evening progresses. You wait for the appropriate amount of time, as you discussed in the last game here, and you make your way up to where Shyla Steelden, her room is. We come back to you here where you are standing over her, sword in hand.
Shut up, Joe.
Have you oiled it recently, though?
I don't know. It's not my sword.
Oh,
That's true. That's true. It's not his sword.
Kinky.
hey-o.
I'm a collector.
Oh my god.
And it gets better.
There's a whole tribe of eunuchs. That's how we got the name Tower.
We'll have to let Eli contemplate this seriously now, because he has to come to terms with his decision for Raze.
So he raises his tower. I mean,
Oh, okay. I might have to pause the game for a minute. They need to cut power to my house.
Okay.
Oh.
I think we can continue talking amongst characters if you think it's
Yeah.
only going to be a couple minutes. That's not too big a deal.
It should be. Let me
Yeah.
hold. I'll be right back.
Check
One
it
second.
out.
Sorry,
No
guys.
problem.
Just so everyone's aware, I had some water damage in my house. They're here fixing it, and they're going into walls and stuff. So I'll be right back.
Cool.
Okie dokie.
Yeah. So I'm personally really curious how this is going to turn out, because we've been talking about this, and definitely Eli. I don't know if it's misgivings or just thoughts about how it's going to work out for Raze, and it's interesting watching Eli, because we do this. We talk in Zoom, even though it's just the audio podcast. So watching Eli and the different looks he has on his face of like, oh well, how am I going to kill this lady, right? And what am I going to do afterwards?
The how isn't the question.
Yeah.
I meant how emotional.
I meant how emotionally, not technically, I guess is right. That's what I'm thinking of.
So Eli, was this? I mean, obviously out of game. Was this something Raze thought on his own, or was this an order from above?
This is a kind suggestion.
Gotcha.
Kind suggestion. Interesting.
Yeah, because like, here's the thing: if I was going to be with her, it might have been gone the same way. Yep. It was like if it wasn't him, it was going to be me.
Yeah.
That's like the completely opposite spectrum of my character. So I don't think my character would have to do that.
And I definitely would say that Rolex would fall on the less murdery side, but somewhere in the middle, because if somebody told him and gave him a good reason to go kill this lady, I'm sure he would. But I think he'd really have to consider the reason, because, life is life. It's kind of important.
I figured that's where Rolex would be standing on it. If
are you still not fascinated so with me?
Oh my God.
And there was that too, because she was fascinated with the whole Warforged thing, and that piqued his interest for sure.
Yeah, it's the whole, not so much that he's against it, he's just not understanding the reason for it.
Yeah.
If there's no reason to do it, why do it?
Why bother, right? And I think a lot of it just comes down to the way I want to play the character. He wants to create life on his own too. He wants another construct that is sentient and knows what's going on. And just snuffing out a life for no reason seems counterproductive. So, at least as far as the digits go, if we're counting up what's better or worse, in general, it's better to keep the life than it is to take it. But that's not necessarily like the whole thing in the sewer. That thing wanted to kill us, therefore it needed to die. Right. Yep. And there's different weights on different lives in whatever scenario. And I see it within Rolex's head. It's like a calculation each time. It's not necessarily, is it for the good or for the bad? It's more so, which is it more of? Because everything is good and bad. And he's just coming up with what levels, right? Assigning numbers and all that kind of stuff. That's the way I see it processing in his head, at least. And inside Ophidian's head, I just see long S's all the time.
Yeah. Les cares about people and thinks that this whole killing each other thing is counterproductive to society, and we really should be building something better. So he would definitely not go and just murder someone, even if he was strongly suggested to do so. He'd rather fall on his own blade.
Yeah.
Raze is he very much follows a philosophy of there are people who just aren't worth keeping around, not just around yourself, but around this plane of existence.
Mm.
There are definitely people who impede progress and step on those they perceive to be below them, and they just don't deserve to be in the same realm. He has no real objections to killing someone if they are the kind of person to see others as below themselves.
It can almost be like a philosophical exercise too, where you say something like, maybe Ray's got a note or found a note in her writing that said she was going to kill Ray's tomorrow, and he's just killing her first. But is that the way you would handle it? Or like Les or Rolex would probably say, I think I'm just going to stop her from killing me. She doesn't need to die. I'll just stop her from killing me, right? Instead of I got to you first kind of thing. That would be interesting.
That's an interesting situation, because in a situation like that where it's like no like context on the why, just I'm going to kill you tomorrow. Raze would I feel like Raze would hold off on the murder, never take it off the table, but he'd hold off until he understood why.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I think that's the important thing to take away from this. He would never take murder off the table. It is always a viable option.
Just the cost of doing business.
Yep.
Jason is looking like another 20, 30 minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm thinking we might just want to come back when he's ready, since he's really running the whole show here. And I mean, sure, we could babble on for quite some time, but it'd probably be good if we had, the DM on to continue the game as well.
What?
Just as a matter of, making sure we get the right
crazy.
stuff in there.
All right, so we kill the king of Witter, speak, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Take out the whole family.
Clearly, we are now in charge of the Eridan Empire. Because
all praise are you unto overlords.
There you go.
Yes.
Yes. So I tell you what, let's go ahead and we'll take our first break of the evening. And when we have a good knowledge of when Jason is going to be back, we'll get scheduled up for picking up again. Sound all right to you guys?
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Sounds good, listeners. To you, that'll be just a second.
Yeah, it should be. Well, for those listening live, it won't be just a second. It'll be the actual time.
Recorded, guys.
Yeah.
Future listeners at home.
But in the meantime,
the preceding podcast was brought to
get
you by
ourselves
One
out
Joe
of here,
Young.
and we'll
You
come
can find
back
us
when
online
Jason's
at
ready.
adventuresfromtheshed.com.
That's like one of the shortest episodes.